Why most people never change, even when they know what to do. Most people already know what they should be doing. They know they should save more money. They know they should eat better. They know they should sleep more, move their bodies, and spend less time scrolling. The information is everywhere. Books, podcasts, videos, advice from people who seem to have it figured out. And yet, very few people actually change. This gap between knowing and doing is one of the most frustrating experiences people have. It creates confusion. It creates self-blame. If the answer is obvious, why does nothing stick? Why do people keep repeating the same behaviors, even when they understand the consequences? The problem is not a lack of knowledge. The real problem is the belief that knowledge alone creates change. For most people, learning feels productive. Watching a video, reading a book, listening to advice, all of it creates the feeling of progress. But behavior stays the same. This is why people consume endless self-improvement content without seeing real results. Information is comforting. Action is uncomfortable. Knowing what to do feels safe. Doing it requires friction. This is where most people get trapped. They mistake awareness for transformation. They believe that once they understand something deeply enough, their behavior will naturally follow. But behavior does not change through understanding alone. Behavior changes through structure. When change doesn't happen, willpower is usually blamed. People assume that if they're not improving, something must be wrong with them. They tell themselves they're lazy, undisciplined, weak. They promise to try harder next time. But willpower is one of the most unreliable tools for long-term change. Willpower depends on energy. It depends on mood. It depends on how much stress you're under. When life feels calm, willpower feels strong. When life gets chaotic, it disappears. And life always gets chaotic. This is why people start strong and fade out. They follow a routine for a few weeks. They save money for a month. They eat well for a short stretch. Then stress shows up, and everything collapses. Not because they don't care, but because they were relying on something fragile. Real life applies pressure constantly. This is why knowing better does not lead to doing better. Because the environment stays the same. Environment is the most overlooked factor in behavior change. What surrounds you quietly shapes how you act. The people you spend time with. The routines you follow. The distractions within reach. The defaults built into your day. All of these guide your behavior more than your intentions ever will. If your environment makes bad choices easy and good choices hard, change will always feel exhausting. You will be fighting yourself every day, and eventually, the fight ends. This is why people revert to old habits after moments of clarity. They return to the same setting, the same triggers, the same routines. Nothing around them has changed, so neither do they. Behavior follows structure. Most people try to act differently in the same environment that created the old behavior. That environment pulls them back without effort. No motivation required. Another reason people struggle to change is identity. People behave in ways that align with who they believe they are. If someone sees themselves as bad with money, inconsistent, or undisciplined, their behavior will quietly reinforce that belief. Even when they try to change, it feels unnatural. It feels like pretending to be someone else. This is why change feels uncomfortable at first, not because it's wrong, but because it conflicts with identity. Identity does not change through affirmations. It does not change through motivation. It changes through repeated behavior. And repeated behavior only happens when the environment supports it. This is the quiet cycle most people are trapped in. The environment reinforces identity. Identity reinforces behavior. Knowledge alone cannot break that loop. Systems can. Systems change the environment. They remove decision-making. They create defaults. They guide behavior without requiring constant effort. When systems are in place, people act differently before they feel different. This is why people who successfully change often say it felt easier than expected. The struggle disappears because the structure changes. When saving money becomes automatic, spending habits adjust naturally. When distractions are removed, focus improves without willpower. When routines are consistent, discipline becomes unnecessary. Change becomes boring, and boring change lasts. This is why most people never change, even when they know what to do. They are trying to force behavior without redesigning the system around it. They are relying on intention instead of structure. The quiet truth is this: people do not rise to the level of their knowledge, they fall to the level of their environment. If you want to change, stop asking how to become more motivated. Stop asking how to want it more. Ask what needs to change around you so the right behavior becomes the default. Change does not happen when you feel ready. It happens when the environment makes it unavoidable. Structure creates behavior. Behavior creates identity. Identity sustains change. That is how people finally move forward.